we're ready. Wow. So folks, good morning. My name is Mark Erlenwein, proud principal alumnus of Staten Island Technical High School, and I just want to start by saying any moment in your career where you get to be introduced by Mr. Mark Cannizzaro is a milestone moment. Thank you so much, Mark. So I used to be Mark's stunt double in his CSA days around contract negotiation time. I've put on a few pounds. Mark is looking fantastic, though. Fantastic. So, folks, this is an honor to be here today to do this keynote for you because I designed something specifically for school leaders. So what this is not going to be is an app fest. Like, these are the coolest next apps. My goal and the mission today is to help you transform your lives, the way you lead your schools. And over the past 3 days, I've gotten to get a sense of who's in the room. We have principals here, we have assistant principals, ed admins, retirees who are still out there helping us keep our sword sharp each day so we can run our schools more efficiently. We have unionists here, some vendors in the room. So there's a wide array of folks here joining us today, and I wanted to put something special today to give you a piece to take back with you. And what I mean by that is, if you could kindly just put the slide deck back up for a moment. On the slide deck's a QR code, and you'll notice on the subwoofers flanking the stage here are sheets of paper with this information. So everything that I'm about to present this morning is already, you have access to it already. So you can take as many pictures as videos as you want, of course, but you have access to this on the Hoover app. So I just wanted you to know that ahead of time because there's going to be a lot of things I'm going to go over rapidly and quickly, right? All right, so before we begin, what I would like to start by talking about is I'm sorry. It happened again. This has happened before. My presentation has gone sentient. It has a mind of its own, and it's kind of projecting. I mean, it's projected, but it's projecting because it's sensing that there's anxiety in the room. Some of you are still very nervous about AI, and it's really not so bad. Like, let me show you. Humor me for one moment. Please put the slideshow back on. All right. We're going to demystify this. And I get it, folks. I really do get it. This represents one of the hottest topics in the country right now. Sizzling, as a matter of fact. Sizzling. AI, I get it. Whoa. Literally. I'm sorry, I promised a no-smoking keynote. I'm not quite delivering. But I get it. But the reality is that AI is kind of like magic. Yeah, AI is kind of like magic. Do you like magic? Yes. Okay, so you just have to learn how to use it. You just have to learn how to handle it. It takes a little practice, and then you get a little bit better at it. It has its ups, it has its downs. Go, right? Kind of gets in our head a little bit, right? Okay. Excuse me. But ultimately, seemingly everywhere, right? It seems like everywhere you go, AI is here, it's there, it's over here. But I'm just going to park it here for now. And there we go. We're going to leave it there for now. And if you can kindly bring my slide deck back up, because AI is like magic, as I said. I tried to demonstrate for you there. But I want to leave you with this. I get it. In terms of AI, there's two trains of thought. There's this utopian and dystopian vantage point and opinion. And I get it, but I have some advice for you. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, especially of this Terminator sequence, right? Where the prediction is that the machines are going to take over. And you know how this goes. There's been so many of the movies. The prediction is that the machines are going to take over. The spoiler is that's not quite what happens. But there's been subsequent sequels that continue to revisit this theme over and over again. And it's kind of coming true. But the best way to stop a prediction from becoming a spoiler is to spoil and disrupt the prediction. And that's what I'm here today to do. And I'm going to do that through showing you some of my leadership workflows and kind of spend a day in the life of Mark Erlenwein at different points of things and scenarios that you're going to be very familiar with and comfortable with. So let's get right to it. So my go-to app, and I'm not going to talk about a lot of apps today, but my go-to is ChatGPT. So I'm going to bring that up right now. So ChatGPT. Huh? Oh, Greg, you just smack the screen. Smack it. Thank you. There we go. Fixed. Sorry. All right. So ChatGPT. This is it, right? This is the Goliath that everyone's losing their minds over. And when I have the opportunity to meet some of the very high-up people at OpenAI who created this, I have to say this is the most unsexiest software I've ever seen. And I love technology, but this is unbelievable that this is what people are losing their mind over. But the truth is, it's very powerful. It can see, it can hear, and it can read. Yeah, it can. And it takes instructions quite well. And that's kind of our thing. We tell people what to do for a living. And we're pretty damn good at it. I know a lot of you are really good at telling people what to do. So that's what this does very well. I'm going to demonstrate and model for you what that looks like. So this is what the desktop version looks like. And this is what the app for the iPhone looks like. And I use the iPhone app and the desktop version all the time. Matter of fact, I have a 7-minute ride to work each day. And the first person, well, I should correct it, the first thing I speak to is ChatGPT. And sometimes people forget. Think about the name of ChatGPT. You're supposed to chat with it. I know, that sounds ridiculous. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's take a ride to work with me.
Hey ChatGPT, how are you doing today?
Hey there, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going so far?
Doing great. I'm going to need some help on a couple of projects before I get to school this morning on the ride in.
That sounds good. I'm here to help you with whatever you need. So just let me know what projects you want to tackle first and we can jump right in.
All right, great. So I need you to create a school bell schedule in a chart format for 9 periods starting at 8 a.m. and ending at 2:47 p.m. Period 3 needs to be 60 minutes long. Figure out the duration of all the other periods based upon your best judgment, keeping as consistent as possible. There should also be 4 minutes of passing time in between each period as separate time intervals before each new period begins. Please add the starting time, ending time, passing time, and a period duration time column to the chart. And use traditional time format, not 24.
Let's break it down. Since we have 9 periods total and period day is 60 minutes, I'll make the other periods as consistent as possible. I'll factor in the 4-minute passing times too. Let me do a quick calculation and I'll get that chart ready for you in just a sec.
All right, great ChatGPT. Now for the next task. I'm preparing for an opening speech for my first faculty meeting of the new school year. Faculty have returned from the summer break and I'm aiming to be inspiring and motivational. Find and make a list of 5 video links with descriptions of the video, 2 to 5 minutes long, of Simon Sinek or other motivational speakers focusing on student resilience and operationalizing failure and multiple opportunities. Got it?
For your opening speech, consider Simon Sinek's How to Embrace Failure and Learn from It. It emphasizes resilience and learning from setbacks. Additionally, Denzel Washington's Embracing Failure and Cultivating Resilience offers motivational insights on overcoming challenges.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
You're welcome. If you need anything else or have any other tasks, just let me know. I'm always here to help. Good luck with your speech prep.
So how crazy is this? And how conversational does ChatGPT sound? It sounds very human-like. It giggles, it does it does all the little idiosyncrasies we do as humans. And the best part is after you've gotten to work, all your work is waiting for you there. So I get to my desk and everything I said and asked ChatGPT to do is waiting for me. So here's the first one. The assembly schedule that, you ever done a bell schedule? And You're good at math. That's quick. You're not? It's not quick. So just what I asked for, 8 a.m. to 2:47 p.m., done. I asked for a 60-minute homeroom or assembly period in period 3, done. I asked ChatGPT to figure out, I don't want to do it, what is the consistent time I can have for all the other periods? 39 minutes, check. And then finally, give me my 4-minute passing time. Folks, I am already knocking things off my list, and I haven't even started my day yet. Let's take a look at the other question I asked ChatGPT in task. I need to be inspiring. I need a 2 to 5 minute video of Simon Sinek around operationalizing failure. Done. It gave me the bulleted list, the titles, the summaries, the links. All I have to do now is just glance through it, pick one, and go with it. It even gave me the non-Simon Sinek speeches, especially the Denzel Washington one to consider. So folks, without even trying, now some of you probably have a longer commute to work. Just imagine how much work you can get done before your day even starts. Think about that. So this is what I kind of envision we all kind of start our day looking like. This is our principal, bright-eyed, shining smile at the desk, waiting for the challenges to arrive, which they do. So let me give you an example of one and how ChatGPT helped me. So I had this awesome can't say no opportunity. This author, well-known on Staten Island, was flying in Ross Jamie Collins, the next John Williams. He's this incredible conductor. And she says, Mark, I'm writing a book, and the book is going to feature your students interviewing the maestro. I'm going to come to Staten Island Tech. You can record it in your TV studio, which I said, sure. I said, I'll give you a transcript of the whole entire recording so you can write your book from it. I said, I'll even personally handle the photographs so we can have a nice book front cover featuring Jamie and the students. And please have Jamie work with our kids, which he did. He's a conductor. We have a conductor's program. It was fantastic. And she even offered to send the press to cover the event so we could be in the news about it. So you know what happened? It was a great day. And then Staten Island Advance never showed up. So guess who had to write the article? This guy. Right. Now, I did double major in college, physical therapy and English rhetoric, so I do enjoy to write. I am a bit of a perfectionist, and this would have taken me an hour and a half to 2 hours because I would overthink it. But not with ChatGPT, because all I had to do was upload the video. Remember what I said? ChatGPT can see, hear, and read. So I uploaded the video. I gave it a little bit of a prompt, the who, what, when, where, how, why, and just like that, automagically, it created an article written like I would write it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a little while. It can mimic your style and your tone of writing. If you didn't realize that, it can. And then 2 weeks later, bam, the article was in the Staten Island Advance. They paraphrased a bit, but they hit all the points I wanted it to hit. And the ChatGPT did a wonderful job of picking the right quotes from an hour and a half long video. It made sense. And you'll be able to read this and check it out on your own if you're curious how much it really did that. I have another scenario for you, and you all know this one. It's 4:59 on a Friday. Joe, Jared, Jack, and Coke are at the bar waiting for you at happy hour, and your assistant principal just sent you an email that you must respond to right now. You know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. It's that ridiculous email that you have to respond right now, and it's going to take you forever to respond because it's really complicated. So in this particular case, it wasn't happy hour. It was March 28th, 4:59 p.m., my anniversary day. So I was not going to any happy hour, and I want a happy wife. And as you know the phrase, you can finish it for me. Happy wife? Thank you. Thank you. Right. So, but I had ChatGPT to help me out. So I took ChatGPT, took the article, put it into ChatGPT, the email, and I said, ChatGPT, my assistant principal needs me to ask PTA to do a wire transfer for a model Congress trip that just went kafukta, and I just need the money to be transferred like yesterday. I gave it the email in red. I wrote my little prompt, and automagically, perfectly created email with my sentimentalities, my little bit of humor, and I was out of there by 5:05, and a happy wife waiting for me at home. Not bad. So school is out for summer, but you're not, because you're still at your desk crunching this year's standardized test result scores. And even worse, it's in a PDF format that you can do nothing with except manual crunch the numbers. You know what I'm talking about, right? That's all right. That's right, because you have an assistant that can take that PDF, turn it sideways, shine it up, and upload it to ChatGPT. That's it. There it is. And all I had to do was upload the PDF and say, take this PDF. I want an analysis of the Regent scores in terms of number of students who took it, number who passed, percentage who passed, number who achieved mastery, percentage who achieved mastery, and give it to me in a nice chart format. Automagically, done, just like that. This would have taken 45 minutes, a half hour, maybe more. A lot of cursing because I copy and pasted the wrong number. Not good. But it's even kind enough to offer me the opportunity to download it in an Excel spreadsheet format, which then I can just beautify it and share it with my faculty, staff, students, and families. Not bad. Boy, are we saving time. All right, this next one is going to resonate with you. And rip Ozzy. So teacher observation reports. I don't have to tell you what a time suck this is in our lives, right? You spend all day working on this and sometimes all night. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I know this is where I might lose some of you. You might feel, I think I might want to try to use AI, but not for this. I hope I change your mind. Let's take a look at what this actually feels like and looks like. So here's the scenario. And you have to boast about yourself in these prompts. You just don't say, I'm a tired, overworked administrator of a high school. No, you're an expert. It's going to do if you're a real good expert, say that. You're an expert. You have an expertise in providing actual feedback. I am going to use the Danielson framework. So folks, that's all you have to say. Whatever framework you use, just tell it. It will figure out the rest, I promise. I'm going to upload the lesson plan. I'm going to upload my low inference notes, which, by the way, could be handwritten, considering you have legible handwriting, typed. You don't have to label it. It will figure out the difference between the different categories. And I'm going to upload the teacher's resources, which might be a PDF, handout, slide deck, whatever. Here are the competencies I want. And I want to use the low inference notes to make commendations and next steps and give me teacher evidence and student evidence. And you just upload it. You click on the paperclip, upload those 3 documents. Now, because ChatGPT will do what you say, I wanted to level this up because I wanted it to be very authentically me. So I told it, use this old observation report to mimic my style and tone of writing. And once you start doing this, folks, the more you use ChatGPT, it really gets to know you. I have a really close bond with my ChatGPT, and it really does know me. So I'm kind of surprised with how quirky and the dad jokes it just throws out there without me asking. Hilarious, but this actually works. But I wanted to level up even further. Because I know many of you here today, how many were in the Con Fellowship? By a show. Okay, so you know where this is going to go. You're going to find this very familiar. I got the ability and the pleasure of working with Dr. Ellie Drago, and some of us in District 31 did too. She is just a genius when it comes to adult feedback. And she came up with these 4 different categories for ways of which identifying how an adult will feel supported when you give feedback. So in other words, a socializing adult is a teacher who is other-focused. So I took all of her resources, made this chart, and I give this to my teachers in my initial planning conference at the beginning of the year. And I asked them, tell me how you want me to give you feedback. Because what this does, and you'll have access to this, it'll tell you what the expectations are for trust, safety, and respect, what feels supportive when providing feedback, and what are the ways to support growth for this particular adult. So imagine taking this and then adding that to the prompt. So this is what the whole prompt looks like, and I'll blow up just this part, where it says the teacher of this observation report is socializing adult who is other-focused. This teacher will feel safe when ... When providing feedback, a favorable way to support is ... And then lo and behold, before you know it, the final result is, this is domain 1, highly effective. The teacher evidence is written in my tone. So is the student evidence. There's commendations and recommendations, which I can add at the end. And now the final commendations and next steps is written in a personable second person, and it is through the socializing adult lens, which means if you look at the very end of it, highlighted in yellow and red, this is what is going to connect with this particular teacher. Because this teacher is going to feel seen and heard based upon what you told it to do in the prompt, but more importantly, by what they asked from you in the first initial planning conference in the beginning of the school year. This has been a game changer, folks. And I am giving you access to all this. This is in the slide decks. I have a document with all those prompts. So if you haven't tried this yet, download the document, copy and paste, play around with it. It's going to change the way you lead and give feedback to adults. I promise you that. So I need to slow things down a little bit. Can we have a little bit of mood music? A little bit of, I'm sorry, not mood music, but how about some mood lighting? Mood lighting. Yeah. I have a question for you. How do you feel? Do you feel collusion? Do you feel plagiarism? Do you feel a new process is starting to emerge where you're going to work smarter and not harder? Are you ready to give yourself your flowers? Because when you do, it smells good, it feels good. So while I will need those back later, what you are now, those are magical bridal bouquet flowers. So you're entitled to a first, second, or third marriage. You have 24 hours to cash in on that. And no one's going to say anything here, because whatever happens in Vegas, that's right. All right. But I'm not going to deny, some of you might be in that third camp, where you're not so quite sure. This feels like collusion, plagiarism. And my wife's there too. Like, she tells me all the time.
The machines are going to take over, Mark.
Yeah, that's what she says.
No, this isn't Sarah Connor. This is Mrs. Erlenwein. And while my husband, Mr. Mark Erlenwein, is a true advocate of AI, I feel the opposite. I think but that's a whole other topic. And I do want you to enjoy some of your trip to Vegas, so I'm going to end this right here.
You're not going to rat me out, right? I told her I'd put her in the presentation. I technically did. And you might still be in that camp, but I hope what you're starting to see is that a process is emerging. Everything I just showed you is really a draft. I don't just copy and paste everything and put it right into the documents that I'm going to distribute, especially the observation report. Please, it is a draft. It's a process. It's a different way to approach, and hopefully you started thinking about this in terms of what it's going to do in terms of your time management. What are you going to do with all this extra time now you just carved out? I'm not going to answer that question because we're going to talk about it in the panel discussion. So let's move on to the next portion of this presentation, creative and productivity tools. So let's get acquainted by a round of applause for each of these pictures. Which of these pictures do you think is the real Mark Erlenwein? Number one, silence. Whoa. Number two, number three. All right. Number four, yeah. Number five. And I'm going to change the number 4 to my keynote headshot. The new number 4. You're not buying it, are you? Huh? Wow. Well, the truth is, none of them are. None of them are me. Not one of them are me. I use an app called Mayo Studio, and the reason why I use this now, I'm not the biggest fan of traditional suits, as you might be able to tell. This is kind of my thing at school. I'm not a big fan of traditional suits, but Mayo Studio allows you to place yourself in any sort of different amount of attire. So imagine how much you might have to spend on professional headshots. You don't have to anymore. You can use an app like this. And it's so convincing that when I turned 50 years old last year, my wife posted this on Facebook. When I got home, I'm like, hon, that's not me. And it looks like me. And this is her favorite photo of my photos of my fake photos. But she doesn't like the one from the keynote. She says, very creepy, Mark. I'm like, I kind of like that one. But what are some thoughtful things you can do with this technology besides avoid having to spend lots of money on expensive suits and headshots? Well, let me give you a heartwarming story. Debbie Griggs was my biology teacher at Staten Island Tech. And she's one of the inspirations for me becoming an assistant principal because she was treated very poorly and had to retire early. But Debbie, we wanted to surprise her and give her flowers while she's still with us by naming the science lab, the bio lab, after Debbie. So we did that, but we didn't tell her. We invited her to the school that day. But Debbie didn't like photographs taken of her when she was in service. There's only about 5 photographs that we recycled throughout all of the yearbooks. So I took those photographs, uploaded them into the Myo Studio app, and created composites until I landed on this particular photo. I even texted the photo to friends of Debbie without telling them what I was doing and asked them, who is this? And they all confirmed, it's Debbie. Perfect. So this was the day where we surprised Debbie. We rolled her up to the science lab, and then she saw the plaque on the board, and she started putting 2 and 2 together, had this very nice plaque to take home with her, and this absolutely was something that needed to be done after leaving the school system under less than good reasons and for good reasons. So this was a championship, heartwarming moment using AI. I just wanted to share that with you. Now another, and this is us, thank you. This is Debbie at her 75th birthday party, which she kindly invited me to. Another example of where you can do this. So Canva has AI built into it. They're kind of in the title itself, but let's go through a little bit of a workflow. It's very quick. Imagine you take a photograph and you wish there was more to the photograph. Like here's a picture of a park, and in Magic Expand is the button you click, and it automatically creates a part of the park that never existed before. Voila, just like that, automatically. So now let's say you wanted to put squirrels playing in front of the bench. You go to Magic Edit in Canva, color in front of the bench, and then you're going to type into the queue chipmunks or squirrels, whichever the 2 you like, playing in front of the bench, and it gives you 4 choices to choose from. Now, I think they kind of look like skunks, but I'll take it. They're squirrels. But notice how the shadows even change. I like the ones with the 2. And that imperfect road, let's color that and put some children on bikes. And then click on Magic Edit, say children riding bikes. It gives me 4 options to pick. And voila, just like that, I have 4 different types of photos to pick from. And just think how often you wish you had a picture of something that doesn't exist. And most of you have access to this for free. Yeah, well, I get in trouble for that for other reasons, because I do like to have fun with my faculty and add them to photos. So you have this for free. And just think about how creative and how much time you can save in a simple app such as Canva that is very capable of doing these sorts of things. So next, I would like to take you on a little bit of a journey on how I use AI with communication tools. And I've been talking a lot. I'm kind of parched. I'm going to take a little bit of a break and turn it over to AI Mark.
Good day, fellow Adminomaniacs. I am virtual AI Erlenwein, and I'm going to give biological Erlenwein a momentary break. He's older now and requires frequent naps and me time. Artificial me, on the other hand, can go on and on all day long. I help Mr. Erlenwein create video messaging for our school community in multiple languages, being I have the ability to speak any language that is typed into my teleprompter. For example, puedo hablar español, wo hui sho jong wen. Sti tailoti dit blarbiation. Wo hui sho putonqua. Ja mogu govorit po ruski. Posso parlare italiano. Imporo la mileso ellenica. I can be infinitely multilingual and help you and your admin team communicate your school messaging more effectively. Mr. Erlenwein uses a platform called Synthesia, which allows him to create video-based slideshows where he himself can become a playable character. Biological Erlenwein will show you another innovative use for this technology for students with special abilities. Thanks for watching. Back to you, Bio Erlenwein. Wake up.
Synthesia. So this is the app. Not too expensive, but what it does, it takes a 2-minute video of yourself. You have to read a script, it records you. And then it learns to mimic your voice, your facial expressions, your body language. I'm half Italian, so my virtual avatar moves its hands a lot. And then it figures out how to move the lips to whatever language you type into the prompt. Yeah, seriously. And it's basically a slide deck video creation platform that makes you a playable character. And all you have to do is just type into the prompter what you want it to say. And if you know how to use Google Translate or however you translate your text, you copy and paste the translated text into there. And that's how I spoke 6 different languages just a moment ago. I use this to communicate with my families. I have 70% of my student population are Asian, and I do not know how to speak Mandarin. And last summer when I started using this, I started getting all these emails and pats on the back. We can't believe you learned Mandarin for us. You're the world's greatest whatever. I had to tell them I did not do that. I'm very transparent when I use AI, but what I did get in return was some of the most incredible number of families starting to engage in my school who didn't before, simply because I met them where they're at and I made the effort to communicate in their home language. This has been transformative. Yes, it's a little creepy. I get it. It's a little creepy. But there are other heartfelt, warming ways to use this in your school community as an instructional tool. So this past year, we adopted a full inclusion District 75 program with P37. Thank you. We do it for the cause, not the applause. I just want to say that. That's our motto between P37 and tech. And we have 8 young men who take classes with all of our students at Staten Island Tech. They have lunch, breakfast, all of the classes that we can offer them. But the very special thing we did with them was create a vocational cafe to train them how to serve, how to cook, social skills, with the intent of creating a pipeline, which we will do with the hospitality industry on Staten Island. So as you know, customer service requires communication skills. And if you're selling coffee and bagels and baked goods, there's certain things you have to be able to say and say it well. Some of our boys have varying levels of speech abilities. So we thought, how cool would it be, instead of using a video modeling service that shows other people saying things like, "Good morning, could I take your order?" We created versions of the boys doing this in the cafe and created homework video reels for them to practice at night. So I trained our speech pathologist how to do this, and this is an example of one of those reels.
In this video, Matt and I will show you how to take someone's order when working as a cashier.
This will be used as a training tool for our school-based coffee shop as well as other worksite opportunities. Welcome to Barks and Beaks. Can I please have a name for the order?
Miss Erica,
What can we get for you this morning?
1 cold brew coffee, please.
Would you like any milk?
Half and half.
Would you like a flavored syrup to go with your coffee?
I'll have vanilla.
Would you like any food added to your order?
I'll have a waffle as well.
Your total today will be $5. Please proceed to the counter for your order. Thanks for flying by.
So what's really cool with that, Bob, did you notice that Matthew sounded a little British at certain points? So the earlier iteration of this software, I don't know why, it makes you sound British once in a while. So some of my faculty picked up on that and said, you sound British in some of your AI videos. I'm like, I did notice that, but I kind of like it, though, I have to say. But Matthew has transformed. His ability in September and now in June, his level of confidence, and don't get me wrong, like the goal is not to get Matthew to sound exactly like that, but to show Matthew what it could look like and elements of that. And it has just been a game changer. The boys' social skills, I'd say, are off the charts compared to the Staten Island Tech students. I really do have to say, because they have this very unique video modeling that we've catered and individualized for them in preparation for them to enter the real world. So not too expensive. I encourage you to try it out. Yes, it is a little creepy, but the return on your investment is well worth it. All right, this is it. We're about to land. I'm coming to the end of my presentation, and I wanted to impart upon you education shifts that are going to be necessary to make your school AI ready and adaptable. And folks, AI, when quantum computing arrives and marries up with AI, everything is going to change all over again. And education is way behind. As a country, we are way behind in terms of what we need to do around AI and how it's going to continually change. And we already made some mistakes with screens and social media over a decade ago. So my rule of thumb is whenever I bring something high-tech into my building, I have to bring the low-tech or the no-tech complement of that technology. Because that's what technology does. It removes the ability and the need to have to do something mundane that you once did. Well, think about what happened to our kids at the cost of screens, social media, one-to-one programs. I'm just as guilty of it. If I knew now, then what I know now, I would have done it a little bit differently. And the evidence is in the media. All you have to do is look online in the news, and the workforce is telling us social skill gap is widening. Kids do not know how to communicate. They have no interpersonal skills. In the most recent article in the Herald Tribune, it's literally named Soft Skills versus AI, they're basically saying the most future-proof skill might eventually be your humanity. Whoa, didn't see that coming. But a lot of us do recognize that. So what are we going to do about it? So my suggestion to you and to other principals who ask me what do you do is you have to amplify human-centered skills. You have to start teaching students these skills specifically. And what I mean by that is we know that cellular technologies will continue to evolve. They will. What are we up to? The iPhone 17, 18? There'll be an iPhone 50 at one point, I'm sure. But there is no greater camera than these two eyes. There is no greater microphone than these two ears. No greater speaker than this mouth, and no greater central processing unit than this brain. Because our students have to realize that cellular technology will continue to evolve, but the greatest cellular technology is their ability to communicate and connect with one another. And we have to lift this up. We have to lift this up, and we have to start teaching it in our schools. And I know how difficult that is, because where are you going to fit it? Let me give you some ideas. So at Staten Island Tech, we created a program called Talknology. Myself and Jennifer Fitzpatrick, 8 years ago, we acknowledged that this was a problem. We started seeing the silence was deafening, I have to say. So we created this new program called Talknology, and Jennifer was a people polisher from Morgan Stanley. That was her job as she came into education. She's one of my former students. So together we created this program which teaches oracy skills, which is speech, and social skills. And I don't mean SEL. I don't mean just the S in SEL. Enough with the emotional learning. The S, social skills, soft skills. We need to start focusing on that. We've talked about how we feel a lot and enough with the kids. We need to teach them how to socialize. So there's an article written on this, which you could peruse at another time. But what this essentially looks like, folks, is this two curriculum. It's the Hope Skills curriculum, which is a soft skills curriculum that teaches first impression, interpersonal, communication, presentation, and selling skills. Yes, selling. We are selling. We're all selling. We're always selling, eventually, something. So the students need to know how to learn to do that, to sell themselves. And we married that to the Voice 21 Oracy program, which is completely free from the United Kingdom. And that teaches speech from a linguistic, a physical, a cognitive, and a social-emotional standpoint. So now imagine when you marry these two curriculum together, and then you couple it with work-based learning experiences. So Jennifer is my work-based learning teacher. So she is the gatekeeper to every student's first job. So imagine these students taking these oracy skills, these soft skills, and getting paid in a work-based learning experience to practice this in the classroom, outside of the classroom, and in the workplace, and at home. Wow. Now, what's really interesting about this is we try to do this at scale. And I'm really proud of this because I think it's one of the most important parts and valuable parts of what we do in our high school, is we give students real-world experiences in the workplace settings. We have 1,400 kids. We have 720 students at any given time enrolled in work-based learning paid internships, earning $1.5 million in their pocket. But greater than that, what's more valuable than that, is the experience that they're getting practicing these skills. And I can always tell what part of the unit that Jennifer is up to when I start having kids come up to me and start shaking my hand and making eye contact, because we teach them how to make eye contact, shake a hand, how do you operate within the physical space when meeting people. It is an art form that is just not handed down via the families like we learned growing up. It's just not done anymore. So this is one way of doing that. How about this? How about bringing a ham radio program to your school? It will cost you nothing. Ham radio, did we still do that? Did you know that the way we communicate with the International Space Station and any of the astronauts that we send out into space is via this oldest form of technology that still exists? We do. And I hate to break it to you, eventually the satellites are going to get taken out. I think Elon had problems with Starlink over the past week. It happened already. The grid is going to be taken down at one point. And from an emergency preparedness standpoint, are our kids ready to save the day? I don't know. So we're trying to do something about it. And one way you could do about it while teaching and lifting human-centered skills is bring a ham radio program to your school. We have about a third of our students who are certified in communicating on ham radios. And they know how to build a radio. They know how to build the antenna. And this is what it looks like, just so you get a sense.
ENT, Kilo, Echo 2, Echo, November, Tango, Ryan Dow, calling from Satellite Tech.
This is KE2EBC, Kilo, Echo 2, Echo, Bravo, Charlie. My name is Drina Glum, transmitting from Staten Island Technical High School. KE2EOQ, Yusuf Mansour from Staten Island Tech. Katie Tan from Staten Island Technical High School. You are now checked in.
So we're using a low form of technology, a low tech, which lies on and relies on and counts on communication skills. Now we take this one step further. We level up. So what else can we do with this? Well, last summer we tasked our students with communicating with the International Space Station. Check it out. Here they're building the actual antennas and the relay systems from scratch using regular materials. And their task was to head to the football field, and we had to track the International Space Station at a specific time in order to successfully do this.
You want to line that up with the actual satellite, and then you're going to track it as we're listening, because I'm going to try to get them to transmit off of this and hit that. We need to be able to listen to this thing. Say your call sign.
I need to say,
That is the ISS signal.
So that's the actual transmission. So my advice to you is this. More screens and automation, you need to double down on FaceTime and communication. All right, so that's step one, because the technology removes and erodes these basic human-centered skills. So that's one way, or a couple of ways, or ideas. You will do it the way that you seem fit for your kids. So that's part one of my suggestion. Part two is acknowledging what artificial intelligence does. It short-circuits the learning process. We use the 5 C's as our learning and instructional framework. But you'll notice on the journey between framework to brain, how thin the process becomes. That's where the learning is supposed to come. But it's minimized. The productive struggle, the constructive failure is minimized when you start bringing all these different technologies into it. And we all know how students are using AI in different ways to short circuit this. So what do we have to do? Well, I say this, and I got frustrated saying this in my commencement speech. We say the journey is more important than the destination, but we never set up our schools to be that way. We put so much emphasis on the end product, right? Sometimes. So I look at it this way. I think of PBL a little bit differently. Project-based learning, problem-based learning. But really what's most important is the process-based learning and assessment. What do I mean by that? Well, if the incentive or the carrot is at the end of the stick, you submit the work, you get a grade back, you move on to the next thing. That's how things are set up most of the time. But what if we move the carrot to the middle of the stick, where process takes place? And we send a signal to the students, who are sometimes, and most of the time, motivated by grades. And in my school, that's a big motivation. So I'm playing the game here. So by moving the carrot to the middle, where process takes place, my message to the teachers is stop grading the paper. The paper is 20%. Give them 80% of their grade on the process, because that's what matters. And then we'll start changing. Thank you. So in theory, this sounds great, but what does it look like? Well, if you're going to start doing this, you're sending a signal to teachers and students that process matters more than product. So then you have to start operationalizing failure. Right, we have to start making exams less summative and more formative and low stakes. Give students a second chance. So I call this restorative assessment. Okay? And you can read all about it at another time. So we actually created a restorative assessment center in my school. And the premise is that students don't get a one and done approach in the classrooms. They get presented with a one and some approach. Meaning you get a second or a third chance when you fail a test, or you don't do so well. Maybe you scored less than average score on that particular exam. Maybe you just had a death in the family last night. Maybe you ran out of time. Maybe you had a panic attack. Do we not hear this from our teachers? And we give them a second and a third chance? So why are we not setting up our schools to be the same way? Real life is set up that way. And I've been through a few. Even a cardiologist and a heart surgeon gets a second or third chance when they fail. Think about that. So we did this, and here was the rub. My teacher said, Mark, we will make as many multiple assessments for that kid as possible that is needed. Pay for the proctors. I said, done. So I hired a proctoring team, and their sole job, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th period during lunch and after school, is to proctor these multiple assessments, because that is where the burden brunts the teacher on their shoulders, is doing the extra proctoring of all these students. They didn't mind making the test, because that's easy, because they learned how to use AI. So this has been one step of the process, but this is only good for tests. We want to get students in the process of something. So I recommend bringing a makerspace to your school. This is where you can transform the learning. This is where learning becomes tangible, physical. Imagine grading a student on the process of building something and making something versus just studying and regurgitating. This has transformed what we do at Staten Island Tech. Every single discipline uses our makerspace 2 to 3 times a year, and the work products are just fantastic. Look at some of these work products. And not all the projects are high-tech. Some of them are high-tech, some of them are low-tech, some of them are no-tech. I have physical education teachers, history, English, foreign language, science, social studies, all different disciplines come into our makerspace. And once you start doing this, and I've written significantly about it, and I kind of like the imagery of imagine a Scantron having a wrestling match with a project-based learning unit, and that's kind of what the article depicts in terms of how you can do this and why it's important. Because we have to start thinking about moving away from just standardized tests and lifting up these project-based learning and process-based learning and assessment opportunities. Now, my advice for you is this, though. When you do it, think big and differently and reach for the stars. Literally, reach for the stars. What do I mean? Imagine you task your students with taking a styrofoam cooler, the one you bring to the beach, and you tell them, I want you to connect a camera into that styrofoam cooler, a GPS unit that you're going to have to build from scratch, which they did, a telemetry unit, which is going to collect data, temperature, altitude, all that sort of stuff, barometric pressure, and we're going to attach it to a helium balloon that's going to go into low orbit outer space. We're going to put the Staten Island Tech and UAU logos outside of the container so we can take the ultimate selfie. Check this out. I apologize for any of you who have motion sickness. This was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And in a moment, and this is not AI or Photoshop, we will be in low orbit outer space. Eventually, the air pressure diminishes and the balloon continues to expand, and the balloon will pop. And the last part of this experiment was make sure you design a system to eject the parachute. So when this precious cargo lands back on planet Earth, we can use the GPS technology to track it, and then we can reclaim this video. And obviously this was successful, otherwise I wouldn't be showing it to you right now. And I think I cut, oh boy, all right, we gotta change that because you're gonna get motion sickness. So thank you. So think about what you can do that's big, that's different, that will create can't-miss opportunities. Your students will never want to be not in school. The students in this case will never forget that. We've done it a couple of times, and it is, believe it or not, it's not too difficult to do. The most complicated part is getting the FAA license and approval to send a helium balloon up into the air. Last thing, we created a neural network at Staten Island Tech. I got approval from the New York City public school system to buy a $12,000 computer server, hooked it up. We fed it every conceivable piece of information about Staten Island Tech possible, and we pointed our website to it. And the sole reason for this, because many of our families don't speak English, and they don't know how to navigate the websites well at all, navigating the menus, the drop-downs. So we created Sammy GPT. Our students did this, just our students. Sammy the Seagull is our mascot, Sammy GPT. You click on Try Sammy, and instead of navigating the website, you type the question that you want answered. You can even speak the question you want answered. You can tell it to be in any language you want, and it will give you back the answer with reference points of where it got the information. So in this particular case, what language is offered at Staten Island Tech, and it's Russian, and it gives you the answers in terms of text-based response and in terms of the links of where you could find that response. Tell me about the Staten Island Tech curriculum. So this has been a wonderful opportunity for students to learn, and they didn't use ChatGPT to do this. They created the artificial intelligence and neural network from the ground up. But, and this was the best part of it, we had to sunset this summer because it was hallucinating tremendously. It was giving Susan Wagner results and information and Tottenville High School results for my Staten Island Tech questions. So we had to sunset it, but we celebrated because the students learned that in the software industry, you will fail more than you succeed. So we learned, and they took away the fail-forward concept at a totally high level. So we're really excited about this. So folks, my time is kind of up here, and I just want to remind you, you have all this information. My QR code underneath my picture will give you my phone number. It's on the bass woofers flanking the stage. You have access to the slide deck, the articles, which have written a lot about all these different topics, the how, who, when, why, what of each of these topics. And I really hope we stay connected beyond today. And I thank you for this time.